Hello, welcome to Star Wars Spelt Out. I'm your host, Josh Chapman, and today, no more stupid TV reviews, no more Andor talk, no more talking about all that kind of stuff. Classic guest talking stuff. It's like the OG episodes, the ones that people always say that they miss, I think. I don't know. If we got feedback, maybe not. But let's just roll into this straight away. From the last holdout, the last Scruffy that I haven't had on the podcast before, the man who steers the ship, live from the beautiful state of Maine, it's Jimmy Dice. How you going, man?
Oh, hey, I'm doing very well. You know, glad to be the anchor down here, way down on bottom. It's where I'm used to be most of the time. So,
I always like this when I had a Raj from the Sith list on as well. I always like the idea of getting like the guy who he's got, you know, because Sith list has a lot of guests as well. You guys do 4 normally, you know, sometimes 3, at least 4 people on the mic. Sith list has like 5 or 6 or whatever. And like, you're the guys who kind of keep it all together, you know, whether it's controlled chaos or not. There's always a sense of like, well, I got to keep this show on the road. So I like the idea that I can get you guys over where you can just like not be worried about being talked over, have a say, you know, not worry about someone butting in all the time.
Oh, you say that. Yeah, most episodes we just kind of, I mean, we really are very polite with one another and each other, you know, Kev and Ed and I. We just talk over Christopher most of the time.
It's a funny, it's like
by accident.
It's fast becoming my favorite podcast. And it's not even because it's the Star Wars talk. I mean, the Star Wars talk is it's kind of supplementary to it. It's just amazing that you guys, because you're pretty regular, like every week, every second week. And then you spend a good hour of the podcast just telling each other about what you've been up to. Like every week you've got something to say. But it actually doesn't really matter whether something's happened or not. That's the sort of, it's just kind of like, well, I just find out what you guys are up to, really. It's really just talking your lives.
A couple people asked, and I kind of refer to the old American sitcom television series Cheers. Where you know, the show's set in a bar in Boston, and a group of locals get together. They meet, relax, socialize, but most of the time, some of the time, we talk about Star Wars.
It's just and the fact that you've got like two guys from America, you know, from Maine. And then you got 2 blokes, not only from England, from the north of England as well. Like, as someone who lived in England, there's a difference between, you know, somebody who lives in the south of England, the north of England, or even Scotland or wherever. But it's like, it's a hard enough culture jump, I think, for a lot of Americans to jump to the way that English people talk, but then jumping to the way that Northern English talk, I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that you guys still haven't quite, like, there's still a lot of like, what?
Oh, there's definitely a lot of moments where it's where we just say, wait, hold the phone here. What did you just say, Kev? And there is some language barriers, but that's just all kind of part of the fun. Ed and I just do like a kind of a half glance. It's like, should we ask about it? Do we know what they're saying right now? And most of the time, it's just like, wait, hold, pause. I'm just going to keep recording, but tell us, what did you mean by this?
Because I'm pretty good with it. Like, I lived there for quite a long time, and you know, had some friends from the north and stuff as well. So and a lot of the colloquialisms and expressions, not all of them, but a lot, you know, because we were colonized by the British, so. We get a lot of that. Like, there's a lot of crossover as well, and we got a lot of British television. So there isn't too many things that they drop that I kind of go, oh, I don't know what they're talking about. More often than not, I go, I wonder if Jimmy and Ed are gonna, you know, pull Kev up on this thing and get him to explain what he's talking about.
Well, some of the times we do, and I can't. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head right now, but I'll mention one that was just we just talked about. In America or the United States, we usually say "knock on wood," whereas you guys say "touch wood."
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I just
go all right.
I just said at the start, just before we started recording, oh, I better do the backup. Oh, I haven't lost an episode yet. Touch wood, and you just looked at me like I was having a Scruffy's moment. I felt like Kev. I was like, I'm all right, mate. Don't worry about it. It's all right. Bang on. It's bang on, mate. It's bang on. Don't worry.
3 rings.
Fucking have
the Reds.
Yeah.
yeah. No, it is a real fun time, man. And all the coincidences, all the gin joints and all the world here. Ed and I met Kev first at Celebration Orlando. I think that was 2017, 2016, something like that. Just met him in line overnight for the Last Jedi panel. And by the end of it, we were just like, why don't you all come on a podcast with us? Talk about Star Wars. We were doing some speculating because everybody was wild about, Last Jedi. We had no idea what
this is going to unite us all.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be the best Star Wars movie ever. And in retrospect, oh my goodness.
I think
it was amazing.
Might have been, yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah, mind-bending. Let's just let time take its, time do its thing with that, and it'll grow it. For me personally, I'm a big, solo Star Wars story fan. I don't know if
you're really digging in on that one, aren't you?
I can't.
I saw a photo of Alden Ehrenreich the other day, and I don't know whether it was the angle or the photo. He was looking like his hair's starting to recede a little bit at the top, and I'm like, that ain't Han Solo. Man. Han Solo ain't going bald. No. We ain't even having no bald Han Solo. That ain't going to help.
Oh no!
It might have just been the angle, but it looked like he was getting a little Bill. And I mean, I can't talk. Actually, I'm a bit more grey than receding, but still, I have receded a bit. I'm in my 40s, but shit, I was looking going Alden.
I'm not too far behind.
I'm going Alden, mate. You might need to
get
a rug on, get a rug going, or.
I don't know. I mean, they either got to push it hard and just go for it, or not. And it seems like it's the latter lately, unfortunately. But I mean, for me personally, I just like seeing the Millennium Falcon back in action.
Would it be weirder if they just went CG face swapped Harrison Ford now? Would that be even more weirder? Like if they did, I meant the Lando show that may or may not ever happen. If they did the Lando show and it was Donald Glover and Emilia Clarke and whoever else was in it, and then it was CGI faced Harrison Ford, would that be weirder than having Alden Ehrenreich? Have we actually just acclimatized ourselves
to the CGI, the deep fake? I don't know. I think not having it Alden at this point would be weird. I think you're gonna have to wait like 10 years.
But if it was if Han Solo showed up in The Mandalorian season 3, and it was Harrison Ford, we'd all just be like, oh yeah, great.
It's true. If they did the deep fake version like they did with Luke in Chapter 6, Book of Boba. So
there's this weird crossover. So it's all dependent on who he's standing next to, basically.
Yeah.
So he could walk into a shot. And if he's standing next to Mark Hamill, it has to be Harrison Ford. But if you stand next to Donald Glover, it has to be Alden Ehrenreich.
Oh my god!
So it would just change from face to face. All of a sudden, you'd have some weird cut where he walks into one room and it's Alden Ehrenreich, walks into another room and it's Harrison Ford.
It's like those movies where they start talking in one language and there's like a scene change, still the same scene, they just morph into English, like Hunt for the Red October or something like that.
Oh yeah,
man,
yeah.
That would be, oh gosh, oh my god, that would be wild. Well, we should probably talk about something other than Solo before you lose too many more viewers here.
No, I like going down the rabbit hole of this. I want to see that happen now. Like they just dropped a trailer. They did the trailer for the Lando show. Or something like that, and it was just Alden Ehrenreich in one shot and Harrison Ford in another shot. That would be crazy.
Some kind of time jump thing.
Do you reckon Harrison's signed over his digital likeness? Doesn't how James Earl Jones did? Yeah.
I mean, that's how you keep that money train going, dude. So I think if he were made an offer like that, he would not say no.
I mean, he's
one of the richest in Hollywood, I think.
I know. Well, he doesn't really need the money. Do you think he would be more, when I'm done, I'm done. When I'm in the ground, that's the end of it.
I mean, he talks like that, and he gets all weird on the shows and stuff, which I'm here for. Let it rip, man. You've earned the right to do whatever you want to do. Fly airplanes the wrong way on air landing strips. Whatever, man. That's cool. But I feel like for performers like that, or take Paul McCartney for instance, or Billy Joel, or any of those active performers now, once they stop, then it's it's done and not that I feel like Harrison Ford needs to do things to make himself feel relevant. I think he just likes to do it because this is his career. He enjoys doing it, so maybe he gets to be more pick and choosy about stuff he wants to do.
Yeah, but do you reckon he would go, when I'm in the ground, you can put Han Solo in stuff and it can be my face? Or do you think he would be like, when I'm done, you can use
done.
you can use archival footage if you want,
Footage.
but I don't want my face. I don't want my likeness. I don't know, because that new Indiana Jones movie is going to have young Indiana Jones in it.
It's true.
Or
True.
young,
Which I am very excited for. The crystal skull can just kind of go away like the Temple of Doom. Just kind of bury that back there and just kind of forget about it. Not that Temple of Doom was that bad. Crystal skull was bad. I think Harrison would. There's going to be some money involved in that, though. It's going to be a hefty price tag for someone to pay for that. I bet he definitely will, though.
Yeah, well, it's
This seems to be the way.
Yeah, well, a lot of those, like you're saying, they're talking about those artists like I think like Springsteen's done it. I think maybe Dylan and maybe Simon and Garfunkel, where they've just sold off their catalogs of music now, because I think they've just gone, well, I'm in my 80s. My music's probably never going to be worth any more than it is right now at this moment now, because no one's buying CDs anymore except for me, who bought a CD the other day. Running back to a conversation we had. So it's that last paycheck, like going, well, if it means that the Springsteen kids get a few shekels before it's all over.
Counting coppers.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I guess we're getting to that time now where it is like those legacy people can sort of doing the one last hurrah, but I don't know. Harrison
They call
Ford.
it legacy for a reason, though, like some people want to be remembered. Some people don't. Harrison Ford, I could see as a person just being like, whatever. And just, moving on. But I feel like some people always want to be remembered for something, and he'll certainly have his repertoire of, film acting and all this stuff, but
I think
keep going to Star Wars, something that's definitely going to be going for the rest of our lifetimes.
Yeah. I think like someone like Carrie Fisher's a bit more of a interesting one, because she obviously doesn't get to have a say in it.
Yeah. That would have to be, next of kin,
Yeah. Well, like obviously her daughter's in Star Wars and, is very close to the fandom and things like that as well. But it'd be interesting to see.
Cool.
I don't know. I feel like if it went either way, there's crap either side of any argument. But if they went around and said, "Hey, we've made a deal with the Carrie's estate to put digital Carrie into stuff," some people would be like, "Yay!" and some people would be like, "Boo!" And then if they went and she just went, "Hey, Disney came up and offered me a truck of money to put my dead mum in movies," and I said no. Some people will be like, "Yay!" and some people will be like, "Boo!"
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't hate the person making the decision. You hate the person who created the need to make a decision on that. And what are you gonna do? Not advance technology and CGI and deepfake and VR, virtual reality? Because this is where it's all going, man. Like, I want to be sitting in my chair, plugged into the Matrix, like Ready Player One. Let's go.
Podcasting with Kevin, Chris, and Ed, just in virtual reality this time.
Oh my God! I can't hit him in VR. Damn it!
Well, you guys got together after Celebration, because I know you couldn't make it to Celebration Anaheim.
Oh yeah,
and then the guys came to visit, and then they all had COVID. Is that right?
They all had COVID. Yeah, they brought me a mighty gift. I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it to Anaheim. I had all my tickets booked and everything. But my best friend, who was trying to schedule his wedding since before the pandemic, one of those ripple effect things. Separate parts of the year initially, but somehow both Celebration moved. Was it earlier in the summer earlier in the summer, and my buddy's wedding moved earlier in the summer, and they just overlapped on the same weekend. And of course, I'm really gonna go to my best friend's wedding.
If only it had been an acquaintance's. If it only had been my wife's best friend wedding, I might have been able to weasel my way out of it.
I weaseled out of my sister-in-law's college graduation for another very good friend's wedding that was abroad that I was absolutely not going to miss. But the things we do for friends. Friends are something always special, and friendships, community, people we meet. Look at Kev that we met in Chicago, and Christopher Kev we met in Orlando, and Christopher we met in Chicago.
Yeah,
and Ed I know because of just mutual acquaintances here in the great state of Maine. Like,
I feel like there's only like 3 people in Maine. It feels like the quaintest place in the world. It's sort of weird. We Australians we look at a place like America and we're like, oh my God, there's so much craziness there, and they've got these wacky things. And then the way you guys talk about Maine feels like, oh, they're just in some little forest town It's
Yeah,
like
a bunch of
Northern
hobbits.
Exposure or something like that, or
Oh God, I mean, we love second breakfast, elevensies.
it's a bit like the
dinner.
north, like the north of England in America, like as far the quaintness and things. Maybe that's not applies to all of it, but
Well, a lot of descendants up from our area, this part of the country, are all descendants from England, the England, Ireland, Scotland, and everybody. Quick history lesson: back in 1812, everybody thinks that's the big conflict that Britain had with the United States at the time, but actually, there was almost a war that was started over the borders between Maine and Canada, which at the time was owned by the
British.
King of England. Yes, indeed.
Mm.
So, Maine's played a very interesting, pivotal role, mostly because of our stubbornness, inability to compromise, and just, very aggressive ways just to, like, be left alone. Mostly people up in Maine is like, hey, welcome, so good to see you up here. When are you going to leave?
Yeah. We like things the way that they are. Thank you very much. Do you have that expression? Not in my backyard. Do you have that expression for people? Not in my backyard.
I feel like it was invented here.
Oh right, there you go.
Well, during the pandemic, everybody decides to move to Maine because Maine, again, quaint little Hobbiton village on the water, and so everybody's moving all up and working remote, buying everything up. But you go through the first winter, and I was like, "Geez, dude, there's a lot of snow up here. I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know."
Yeah,
we all bail out.
There's a lot of. I grew up in a country town, and a lot of people moved rurally during the pandemic as well, in beach towns and things. And then people left Melbourne, and then they kind of went, "Oh, can't get a decent coffee down at the, a bit far to go to the football. It's a bit, can't do. Yeah, okay. There's a few people coming back again, but anyway." So you're down for London. You're in
Yes.
It's all four Scruffies.
Indeed. Yeah, the last time, I said the last time we were together was after Anaheim. Sorry, back on that story. But we were together after Anaheim, but obviously the boys were they were exposed. So we hung out at Ed's house right in the front yard. It was a great weather day that day. I brought my whole little kitchen set up, and I just kind of hung out. I hung out in Ed's driveway while they were up on Ed's deck, like looking down on me as, I'm like the little sous chef preparing food for my masters.
Your sick masters. Your infected masters.
Don't be so kind. Yes, Tommy would like some food.
You've always got some good food, guy. Are you just a guy who likes to cook, or does that further? That's not a profession, just like, hey man, I like making stuff.
I just like making stuff.
Yeah,
I like it's just, I like making stuff for friends. Like it's a big party or something. Like, let's make something like really good because I feel like the way to a woman or a person's heart is through their stomach, and that's true for everything.
Yeah,
you make something that everybody likes. You mentioned cheese or like good beer, and everyone's just like, oh my god, yes, please.
Do you think that do you go for the cliches of like England, like British food being terrible, or?
Some good stuff there. Yeah,
it's like anywhere.
I do. I mean, like any place you go. Like I really liked fish and chips, or fish and chops. Well, that's more like what they call it in New Zealand. But
I don't think their fish and chips is as good in Britain as it is here. I didn't have particularly good. The average fish and chips, like the one off the street, I didn't think was as good. Like if you went to a good one, you could get really good ones, but I feel like on average, Australians' fish and chips is better. But anyway, that's
sure,
me.
Okay, I'll take you up on that when I come down to visit.
Yeah,
I mean, just like any place, there's good places, bad places, and but I always loved the hotel breakfast. I was in London last year, real just quick in and out trip, and just had like my little grilled tomato and black pudding, white pudding,
like a full
eggs,
English,
toast.
yeah.
Fried bread,
fried bread.
Yeah, fried bread.
Yeah.
And you do a little, not Vegemite. What's it called over there?
Marmite,
right?
Yeah.
Oh God, I can only take one bite.
Yeah. Like I don't do the mites. I don't do Vegemite either. I can't stand it. But that's just me.
Yeah. You just gotta try it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, that's exciting. Like home turf. Like you'll have the boys showing you around the UK. And did any of those guys go to the last London one? What year was that? That was the Rogue One year, wasn't it?
That was a Rogue One year, and that was before
2016?
Orlando. 2016, yeah. Because that was 2017 was Orlando, and that's when Ed and I decided to go. after a couple of beers on a whim. It was
Oh,
like, we
really?
should go to this. I was like, oh, yeah, this is a pretty cool idea. Okay, let's go.
Oh man, like coming from Australia, there's a lot more.
Oh, on a bear.
Yeah. It seemed to happen quite fast though, because I think because we went the first time we went to was Chicago, and there was sort of talk about tickets are coming on sale. Maybe we should do this thing. Let's just see if we can get tickets. Okay, we got tickets. All right, this is going to happen. We're going to find an Airbnb. You got to find flights. Going to do all this sort of stuff, and then yeah. And then it's just been the last couple. It's been like, yep, all right, we'll do it. London, we're already on an uncomfortably long flight. What difference does it make?
I mean, yeah, it's a long. Unfortunately for you guys, it's a long flight anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, LA was 15, 16 hours. London's 24. But I did it a lot. I've done that flight a stack of times when I lived there because I'd come back for most Christmases. But yeah, it's been a while.
Direct from Melbourne to
no,
to
you've got to stop. You got to do. You can do
Dubai
direct
or something?
You can do direct to from Perth now, but you've got to go via Singapore or Dubai or one of those ones. You can go. I think you can go Bangkok or something if you really want. But we still haven't booked flights yet. So my partner Kat is coming over with me as well. She's not interested in Star Wars Celebration in the slightest, but she is interested in a trip to Europe for 2 weeks. So
even better.
Yeah. So I just said, well, I'll go to Celebration, and you can amuse yourself in England, or go to Paris for a couple of days, or whatever you want to do, and then we'll catch up with all.
Just hop in the tube and go straight over, right?
Yeah, you can take the train talk. Catherine Dean will be happy. You can take the Euro tunnel. I assume it's still open after they broke from the EU. I'm not quite sure how all that works now, but
it just costs more.
Yeah, probably just costs more. It's probably just a bit more of a pain in the ass to get in and out. But anyway, look, I'm really looking forward to it. I've got I think I've tied a supplier for the beanies now. I had to find a new supplier after what happened last time. So
nick of time, man. Nick of time.
Dude, tell me about it. I've got a feeling that I'm going to have to just I think the minimum order is going to be 50. Like normally I've asked around and got that number anyway, but I think I'm going to have to commit to 50 before I even know for sure that I'm going to have the numbers. But it's going to be England. It's going to be April. It'll be coldish. I've got enough people who have said that they want one in general that I should be fine.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think I'm going to
you'll be able to
there.
move product.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
If you need a good pusher, you come to see Jimmy Dice. I'll push material. I'll push product on the floor if you need pushing.
Yeah, I think you're the only people I know who has like a stage name. You've got like your.
It kind of.
I always think of what's his face, that freaking comedian, like, oh, Hickory Dickory Dock. What's his face? Andrew Dice Clay. I'm like, maybe he's just a big fan of that.
No, it just kind of so I play craps a lot. I like to gamble. I like to go to a casino on occasion and roll dice. And I built a craps table in my basement. And my name is James.
Yeah,
that
makes
a good
sense.
saint's name. Yeah. Man of the
patron
church.
saint of gambling.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. Just go back on Sunday and forgive your sins. And but my older brother always called me Jimmy, and it just like stuck. And then all of a sudden, my friends around here were just like, "Oh yeah, Jimmy," and it's like Jimmy Dice, because I'm rolling dice. And then I think Ed may have mentioned it because Ed's a frequent attendee at my little underground casino thing, and it just kind of stuck one day, and there it is, and away it goes.
Is Kev or Chris taking you to the Hippodrome in London or something? Was that something I heard?
Well, actually, I'm taking them there because I've been there already.
Yeah, I don't think it's a particularly. I mean, I'm not a casinos guy, but I do recall it not being particularly like Melbourne's got this humongous. We've got this thing called Crown Casino, which is like,
ooh, nice.
It is like it's an entire site. It's got like hotels and restaurants. It's massive. It's like on the waterfront and blah blah blah. I think this is just sort of like a building that's in the city.
It is. It's right in the middle of town, next to actually a pretty decent, okay Döner joint that I hit afterwards late night. But the area where it is just like long lines to get into the club. There's a lot of litter on the ground, like right afterwards, like just covered all the streets.
Yeah, it's all in Soho, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like come 5-6 a.m., it's just like all cleaned up again. I was like, my God, it's outrageous.
I heard Turbo. I think it was Turbo mentioned that you were looking for the greatest kebab in London, or you were going to try and find the best kebab in London, because I've got a suggestion for you.
Oh, all right. I have a pen and paper.
All right. So when I lived in London, the first place I lived in was a place called Shepherd's Bush, and there was a place They're called Shabab, Shebab. And
Shabab,
the thing about it that was so good was that they would make their naan bread, or the bread that it wraps
The
in.
wrap,
they'd make it fresh for every
Oh my
kebab.
God.
So they would sit there and they make the bread and they cook it in front of you. So you get this hot naan bread on site, and then they would put them, all the stuff in, and that was like the gold standard kebab that I had in London. It's probably Shepherd's Bush is probably on the wrong side of town for Celebration, but it's on the tube. You can get in, you can get out. It's pretty,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Just real like hot and fast.
Yeah. Get in, get your shabab, get out of there.
Get in there, get out of there, get your dinner at the Shabab. Okay.
Yeah,
I will remember this. Okay.
Yeah, if we get time, I'll show you around.
That'd be heard. I mean, I did joke with the guy. I'm unfortunately only going to be there for like right for when Celebration, like day before it starts, and then like the day after, I'm bailing out. I just don't have enough holiday time to take throughout the year because my wife and I and the 2 little kids at home, we're trying to take other trips throughout the year and stuff. And it's like I'm squeezing every hour I can out of my holiday time for this. So
it's draining by the end. You get into the Celebration because we had an extra day. I think we even had 2 days because we had the day that we left, and then the day before that we still had a day free because that was going to be the day we went to Disneyland originally.
Okay.
And then
Did you go?
Well, we ended up going the day before we got to Celebration because we ended up getting there a day earlier because Kenobi got moved. So you remember they moved the date of Kenobi?
Yes.
So we got there early so we could see Kenobi early, and then I think it got moved in the end anyway. I can't remember. But anyway, so we had the Wednesday, and we just thought, we had a day to go to Disney, we weren't doing anything. So it's just funny that day after Celebration, you're just so mentally exhausted, and everybody's leaving anyway. You're kind of like, maybe I should have just flown and got on a plane and gone home.
Yeah.
We had a nice day. We cruised around with a couple of people who were still there, and we went to downtown Disney and stuff. But at the same time, you kind of like, especially when you're going a long way, you're like, I've done 4 or 5 2 a.m. nights in a row.
Yeah. And you got Kev. I mean, Kev's like sitting in his room, stressing his head out, like trying to figure out how he's going to pack all these hot toys in his suitcase.
And even worse, how he's going to sell them later on.
Well, that's the thing, I was like, Kev, you can only collect so many Cara Dune figures. Come on, man, you just can't.
Well, I haven't sold much of the stuff that I have, but I did sell my Cara Dune Black Series right at that minute where it was like hot.
Yeah, that was a smart move.
Yeah,
there, my friend.
$300.
Smart.
I got $300 for that Cara.
$300?
That's Australian, but yeah.
Holy God.
It's outrageous.
Oh, look at that! Oh, you even doing the soundboard there.
I'm sorry, I wasn't
Michael Winslow over here. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it, but holy camole, that's great! What a profit! Good for you, man.
Yeah,
I like hearing this.
It was just that moment where it was just for some people were desperate to get it after she got the sack.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've seen it sold plenty of times for like under 100, but I have no real inclination to get it back. It was just a kind of like, that was nice. And then I use it to buy.
Well, I mean, when you
other
collect
figures.
them all and you already have them, and especially when after the whole thing, it's like I really don't want to have this anymore. And someone's going to pay money for that.
Yeah,
Heck
why not?
Sure,
yeah, exactly.
We'll put it in their shrine somewhere.
So she did mysteriously. That's a good segue right there. So she did mysteriously turn up in the Mandalorian trailer. Wouldn't that be hilarious if she was just in it? And nobody even mentioned
stop
it.
Stop it. The way you worded it right there, like mysteriously appeared in the trailer, and I was like, wait, she did? I didn't see that.
They're like, this is how we're gonna test the waters and just see if anybody says anything.
Oh man, it would be like, it would be like a holographic image, like choppy, in and out. That is like blurry or something like that.
That could happen though. Like they were like, last seen standing on the edge of a volcano or something,
They're a Mustafar.
Yeah, she fell in and that was that.
Oh no.
Or they, she fell in face first and they had to, reconstruct her face, and now she looks like, I don't know, what's the name of the lady who plays Xena? Lucy Lawless. Yeah, all of a sudden she pulls out of the volcano and she's Lucy Lawless. She's married to Ron Swanson.
I mean, that'd be fine. I don't think they mention it at all. I think it's just like, boop, gone. And or they either mention it in like a 1 scene, 3 second line, You know what I mean? Just like, and this happened, and then move on to the next thing, or they just don't mention it at all.
It could
And I'm
even
fine
be
with either
like
way.
Carl Weathers could just be like, "Well, we're peaceful now, so all the marshals moved out and went to other planets," and it could just be
Yeah, the New Republic came in and took all the marshals out and went, dilly-dallying somewhere else.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Hopefully, anyways.
yeah,
What a great trailer, though, right?
yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I feel like I don't know where they're going. I have a very strong opinion that maybe it should have ended at season 2. It was the perfect ending.
Like the entire series?
Yeah, that story, that's the core story of Grogu and the Mando. I feel like kind of crescendoed perfectly in that, and being sent off, and who knows what will happen, and blah blah blah. I know there's like a million other dangling threads and dark sabers and Mandalorians and all that kind of business. And I know that can you sustain the series without Grogu? Probably not. But
No. But you're right.
because he's
We're
just
not gonna
luggage
find
again
the
now.
planet.
He's luggage.
Yeah,
He's going to
we're
be a
not
little
gonna-
like, look after the kid for me while I go off and do this. And
No, he's worse, Josh. He's a liability.
yeah.
Though, I mean, really not. I mean, he's got force powers. I'm sure the kid can. The kid will have to prove that he can look out for himself. And
But now
ultimately-
he's got force powers without any oversee. Now he's just walking around with a loaded gun. Now you got a kid walking around with a loaded gun who could do anything.
I mean, if a 50-year-old kid,
You can't even change his own
it is a
underpants.
little weird.
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah, I know.
I'm just worried they're going to write themselves into a corner here.
like The Walking Dead.
Well, I didn't watch The Walking Dead, but I watched
I
the
know. I
first.
stopped like halfway through.
I think I watched the first series. Did I watch the first series? Maybe in the first few episodes. I don't remember.
It was good. First half good. Second half meh. But it was too long, right? And that's what I think. What your point is here is that we don't want Mandalorian to drag on forever and ever and ever. I mean, they can come up with other stuff. They just have to find more interesting, neat ways to interweave this in with other stories that they're doing concurrently or potentially in the future. Like, they're trial ballooning the deepfake Luke, and they have Rosario Dawson, Luke, and Mando and Baby Yoda showed up in the middle of Book of Boba and basically take all of that thunder away.
Yeah, I know that still annoys me.
It does as well. To me, it's like, wait, what about the Tuskens? Forget the mod people. Bring in the Tuskens. I bet they could kick some serious behinds of people in downtown streets of Tatooine.
Have you gone back and rewatched Book of Boba Fett?
I've selectively watched like 2 or 3 of them.
I watched some YouTube
Honestly,
clips.
I haven't, though. That's a big thing that I like to do. I love to rewatch stuff, Josh. I love to old episode series where I just kind of have on my second screen going, or like I'll pop it on the TV and just like kind of have it in the background as I'm as I'm watching my kids, and for better or for worse. But at least it's Star Wars or Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But that's a separate topic. But I always try to rewatch things, and I never have had the urge to rewatch Book of Boba.
Yeah.
I really like the Tusken arc. I think that was the most interesting part about it. The Mando thing was fantastic when he was on that ring world, when he initially caught up with Jon Favreau and the armorer. God, I love that episode. It's episode 5, I think, or something like that. And the whole concept of how that world worked, like I want to see more of that stuff, the really cool sci-fi techie thing. Like I'm attracted to that, like the world building aspect.
Get out of the sand.
Get out of the sand. No more Tatooine.
There's a t-shirt. Hey, Star Wars, get out of the sand.
Yeah, get out of the sandbox, Gosh.
We're itchy. It's coarse and it goes everywhere. Get out everywhere. Of the sand.
Yeah, come on. You wrote about this. Take your own advice.
That might be the episode title, Get Out of the Sand.
Get out of the
sand. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm always up for more Star Wars, and I've got I'm very just like, yeah, I'll just roll with it. I'll roll with all sorts of stuff. I loved Andor. I mean, and that was a discussion that happened all the way through Andor season that we did with Catherine and Matt and Dale, who came in.
I loved all those episodes, by the way.
Oh,
those
thank you.
Fantastic, dude. I listened to every single one. They were great.
Thanks. Well, the theme all the way through was this ruined everything for everything else, and my conclusion was it shouldn't set the tone, but it should set the standard.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
I don't know. I would hate to see. I think I'd be kind of sad if people just went around and went, geez, Mando's kind of just by the numbers now. Like, it ain't pushing the thing anymore. Like, I don't know. That would make me sad.
I mean, everybody's always hot on the latest thing, and they all want to say something a little spicy to grab a little bit of attention. You know what I mean? And people are kind of doing that. I'm hoping people don't do that too much with Andor. Andor was fantastic.
I think one day there'll be Andor blowback. People will go back. You know what? Maybe it wasn't that good.
Oh no! It's like, look what he did here. It's outrageous. My God. But like. With Andor, you're right. It sets a standard of quality of what it is. It doesn't mean that every show needs to be nitty gritty with my man Stellan Skarsgård telling everybody that everybody's going to die in the end. You know, like it doesn't have to be like that. The Mandalorian is essentially a Rebels or Clone Wars animated episode, but live action. You know, it's that 40-minute buffer zone, sometimes longer. Thank goodness. I don't know. It's like, just give me more stuff, please.
Well, the movies are the trickier one too now. I think getting back into that movie mode of like what. Although I have to say, did you see the second Avatar?
I did just recently, actually.
And I like the first one. I actually think this one was better than the first. So it's too long, but it was still like going to the cinema, watching a spectacle, going.
Yep.
There's still a lot of currency here, and clearly, like, it's making money.
Yeah.
Putting Star Wars back on that platform, I think that's still its home. I think it's still where it needs to do its best work.
I agree, but man, if you could just make it like a little bit longer than 2 hours and 15 minutes. That would be great.
You want longer? Really?
I like it. I like a good long movie. I'm a big like Lawrence of Arabia, Lord of the Rings extended edition, like one sitting. Let's go all the way through it. By the way, Avatar 2 made it first time my wife and I have been to see IMAX 3D for years now, since pre-pandemic babies, all that stuff. I drank a ton of water. Had a beer with lunch. I'm drinking water in the show. Like an hour before the end, it's like, oh. Damn it. I made a mistake.
I had to go. I've told this story before. I had to go to the toilet within the first 10 minutes of The Force Awakens. I remember we went to the midnight screening that Steele Saunders had put on through his podcast, and there's a whole bunch of us down there, and we all went at the pub beforehand, and because it wasn't on till midnight. I had a bunch of beers, and I'm sure I went to the toilet beforehand, but then 10 minutes in, just going, oh no, I'm going to have to mentally block this out so I can enjoy this movie.
Yeah, once you break the seal, it's over.
I know. Yeah. Have you seen the movie RRR or Triple R?
No. What is this?
So this is a movie that's on Netflix. It's a 3-hour movie long. It's a Indian action film. So it's like a made in India. It is insane. It is amazing. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's dubbed. Right. The dub is pretty good, so it won't be disconcerting. It's got known British actors in it as well, because it's set in the 1920s. India's under colonial rule, basically, and it's about these two guys who are sort of on opposing sides of the one's working for the British police and another one's like a local guy, and what kind of happens there. And it's the action in it is insane. It is insane how good it is.
Nice.
There's a lot of suspension of disbelief. It came out probably mid to early last year.
Oh,
so it's kind of done cinema rounds and stuff, and it's on Netflix. At least in Australia, it's on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix everywhere.
A little research.
I watched it over 2 nights, but you put it on, and you'll get sucked in, and it's really good, really, really good. I've been telling people about it. Yeah, so it's just like the letter R 3 times. RRR.
All right, man.
Yeah, so there's my recommendation, my triple recommendation.
I see what you did there.
I just thought of that, actually. Very good. Recommendation. So there you go. If you like 3-hour movies, they'll be all right. And it has got a little bit of singing in it, but not a lot. Like sometimes Bollywood movies are like all singing and dancing. This is...
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. It works with the plot, and it works in context, and it's only like a few minutes, so...
Like they all break out in a song and dance?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of Bollywood movies do that, but this is more. Okay. This is definitely more action skewed.
Heard.
So, London Celebration. Are you staying with the guys in Dalston, or are you staying like all of you guys? I know Chris and Kev are
Hackney
in
somewhere.
Hackney,
Yeah. So it's Christopher, myself, and Ed.
Yeah. So Hackney's where I used to live for most of the time that I was in London. So I'm staying.
Nice.
I've got a flat for the days of celebration in Hackney as well. Just because I know the area, I'm on that side of town. Yeah.
Sure.
And I knew you guys would be around, so hopefully I've kind of drawn a map where I think where you guys are, and it's very close. It's walkable, I think, and there's a few pubs in between. And that's the thing about London. There's pubs everywhere, and I think that was the thing that was kind of weird about Anaheim. There isn't really. Like, once you're at the convention center, there isn't really places to socialize. Like, we kind of went to downtown Disney.
Convention center.
Yeah, it's all convention or it's Disney stuff. And it's kind of weird because Disney have their own rules about, how you order and get food and do things and do all that kind of thing. So, hopefully it'll be nice after celebration. You just be like, well, let's just go to the pub, or let's just go to dinner or do something. And yeah.
And Chicago was good because I had a pizza joint off of like Exit C or something like that. And then, in Orlando is also a place. I think it's where Steele had the. I think that it was the first erotic read from Emily Lind and Steele. Orlando, I think it was.
I didn't go to Orlando.
Definitely. Yeah, it was. There was a bar, but like to your point, there was a bar right next to where the convention center was that made it really convenient.
Yeah,
and you got to have a place for people to go, right? Because people need to like sit and gather. And they in Chicago, they at least had like cafeteria style tables near all the kiosks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
they kind of had a bit of that at Anaheim, and they had food trucks sort of down. There's like a thoroughfare down towards the convention center, and they had a bunch of food trucks and stuff, which was quite cool. But it was like out in the middle of the sun. It's really hot.
Yeah,
and it was sort of you had to go out to do it. But people went out there a lot because it was still masks on at Anaheim, so people kind of took it as a chance to like take the mask off outside and stuff and do all that kind of thing. Not that it mattered; everybody got COVID anyway. But I didn't. But a lot of people did.
Oh my god!
But I haven't watched. Have you watched the new Bad Batch that just came out? I haven't watched it yet.
I have watched the Bad Batch. Not the newest one this week that came out today.
Right. No, me either.
I did
right,
not
there you go.
watch today's, but I'm all the way up until the Padres one.
Yeah.
Faster.
Yeah, we had the Jean Ralphio from Parks and Rec playing the.
Was that him?
Yeah,
it's the boss, the antagonist of that.
No, he was the pilot, the robot pilot.
Oh, he was the robot pilot.
Yeah, because he, I did a little Photoshop of Jean Ralphio from Parks and Rec with his robot face. And he saw it and commented on it. So I got a little like from Jean Ralphio, which was quite nice. No, the guy who played the boss was Winston Zedmore himself, Ernie Hudson.
Oh my! No way.
Ehud.
Oh my god.
You look really upset. Like I subscribed to his newsletter and everything, and how did I let this slip?
Well, no, I'm just putting like faces to names real quick because I'm not honestly. So I play trombone, I'm a musician. I'm not very good at like names, composers, song titles, lyrics. And then that goes doubly for like actors and actors' faces.
Right.
And stuff. I've only seen it once, so I need that rewatch. I need to rewatch them like in something a bunch of times for them to like internalize in my brain. But what do you think of the latest season of Bad Batch? Bad Bitch with Omega and Reka.
The trick. Goggles. You know the trick to a New Zealand accent? I can tell you the trick to a New Zealand accent is.
Please.
Hang on. I'm just trying to in my head here. A's become E's. A's become I's. Or is it the other way around? Or E's become... Oh, God. No, so I's disappear. So I's disappear. So instead of saying fish, you say fish.
Yeah, fish and chops.
Yeah, so the I disappears. And A's become E's. So instead of faster, you say fester. No, that's not right. Damn it. I used to know this. I used to have a big crush on a New Zealand. I had a real crush on a New Zealand girl in high school. So I used to study the accent very closely.
We all love the Kiwis.
Yeah. But no, look, it's good. Yeah, it's fine for what it is. Like I like I like that period of time. Like when they said they were going to make it, and people were like, why were we bothering? And I was like, I think this is quite fascinating. Like, what happens to all these clones? Like, do they just all go into the meat grinder, or they just all end up getting phased out? Or it's kind of weird though. Like I was having this discussion with someone the other day about this. The whole idea of the clones, because it's kind of implied that they're just basically going about their day fighting in the war, and then they get a message on their phone saying Order 66, execute Order 66, which triggers something in their brain, which basically makes them go, if I see a Jedi, I've got to shoot that Jedi in the face.
Yeah, let me open up Windows Explorer, go to my C drive program files, and find execute order 66.exe. Got it.
Yep.
Let me hit that script in my brain.
Which just means if basically I see a Jedi and I go nuts. And I think there's a Clone Wars episode where one of the clones gets triggered like early by mistake, and he's just like, bah, like frothing at the mouth trying to like shoot a Jedi in the head.
It was, well, he does. He kills one, I think. Were they Twi'lek sisters, brothers? And wasn't it Fingers, the clone trooper guy?
It's unfortunate.
They're fighting on...
I'll just steer clear of Fingers. Don't sit too close to Fingers.
Fives. It was fives.
Yeah.
Fingers?
Fingers.
This is...
Well, they call you Fingers. Like, man, you don't want to know. Come closer and I'll show you. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Five Fingers might be even worse, actually.
Yeah. No, I do remember that episode because I remember Anakin was in there with Rex and he was like trying to explain it and everyone's just like, this is super sus and no idea what it is. And was it the some of the red troopers, the red clones, whatever, just want to come up and just completely eliminate, execute them or something like that, erase evidence of this.
Yeah.
I the first season of Bad Batch, I was a little milquetoast on. This one I'm kind of in for. At the end of the first season, it really I caught on. I'm into it now. I'm more of an interest in it. The faster one with the pod racing, that was cute. But the 2 episodes before that, you want to talk about a bad guy? Can we talk about Vice Admiral Rampart for a minute? Man, he is just mean.
He is mean. He just wants to. He's got no interest in keeping these clones around. I think he's cramping his style.
Yep. He's the Shredder to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean?
Well, I think they're just surely that's what I mean. Like if they're going, all right, we put this chip in all these clones and they all shot the Jedi, and surely now they're not. Are they always switched on in kill Jedi mode now, or have they just been told after the fact, like, oh no, you did the right thing. Like the Jedis were a bunch of traitors, so that's why we did it. That's why you did it. But are they always on a hair trigger to just shoot Jedi? Because it feels like some of them are like. Wasn't that weird where we all went mental and tried to shoot all those people?
Remember that time?
Like out of the blue? Yeah, out of the blue. Like all
Fingers. Remember that time he tried to shoot Master What's his face?
Fingers. Pull your finger out and get over here.
Well, remember the season 2 of Rebels, maybe Ahsoka, or season 3, Ahsoka reveals herself as Fulcrum and sends Ezra and all those folks on the journey to find Commander Rex, and they start one of them starts tweaking out, trying to kill Kanan. Remember, we're on there. They're on that converted walker.
So have they got some kind of are they just spying a lightsaber, or are they just smelling like midichlorians on them or something like that?
Midichlorian does have that rose mint scent.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they can detect it unless they can detect. They just have to know.
Yeah. Because in Jedi Fallen Order and stuff, he's just a guy working in a scrapyard until he pulls he does something forcey, and then they're.
Yeah, and our boy Ewan walked in front of one of the clone troopers in the Kenobi series when he was on that planet searching
That'd be
for,
funny if he just
what's his face?
Oh yeah, he's like, oh, you got 20 cents for a dead clone, and he's just like,
you got some coppers.
Yeah. And all of a sudden I've been playing if you played, you don't have a PlayStation, I remember you mentioned that. I believe Horizon Forbidden West, and it's got all these big machines and stuff, when basically you try to sneak around and they spot you and they go mental and trying to eat you, and I just die repeatedly, and that just reminds me of what
I love those games.
Yeah, I know. But no, look, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it's good. It's just Star Wars animation. I think we put too much pressure on Star Wars animation to be anything that's not. It's still, especially that side of it. I know people are like, oh well, cartoons aren't just for kids. It's like, well, these are this is made for the kids market.
It is ultimately. Yes.
This is, maybe it's made for all ages, but ultimately the animation is used as a gateway to get kids into. It's a gateway. It's a gateway drug to get kids into Star Wars.
Gateway drug to Star Wars.
Although I reckon Lego's a bit more effective.
I think, I agree. Lego definitely is, though not recently on the wallet. Dear God. But with like Clone Wars when it came out earlier 2000s, however many years ago that was now. That appealed to that generation, and the writers, I like to think anyways, are trying to strike a balance between writing for that first generation, our generation that watched it the first time and were like super into it, but also making it playful enough for trying to get a new generation into it, right? Because, like yourself, I'm sure myself, I'm selectively putting on Star Wars for my son and daughter. And Star Trek as well, gotta be fair. And though I do let him watch some Star Trek Lower Decks, so it's like, I probably shouldn't have done that one, but she won't get that joke. It's fine. We want to introduce this to our kids because that's something we love, we take appreciation from. We want our kids to enjoy it as well. Everybody's happy. Who doesn't want that? So it's parents' responsibility for their, putting their own kids into Star Wars, but the writers are trying to do a good job or trying to do some kind of a job of that, I think.
How long do you reckon it'll last? Do you reckon they'll do 3 and done? Like, I feel like there's one more series in it after this.
Bad Batch?
Yeah. I don't feel like it's an 8 series kind of like I
hope not. Like, how long did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Can I play something for you real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think you'll appreciate this. This is our, whenever we talk about the Bad Batch, it's just really like jonesed up to talk about it, So you'll see.
Oh, that's a classic. I think it's playing us play the song "Spin That Wheel." Do you know that show? Do you know that song "Spin That Wheel" from the '90s movie soundtrack?
No.
So that was on the original. Like the soundtrack that was on the '90s movie, the first one. The singles was "Spin That Wheel."
Oh, the '90s.
Yeah, the movie and Turtle Power as well. TURTLE.
Yeah,
Power.
Nice. The first Turtles movie was my absolute favorite. Raphael had his like separate little journey.
I've got that. I've got the NECA toy of that. Have you seen the toys for those? They've got a. Oh, hang on, I was just showing. 1 sec. I'm gonna.
Sure. I mean, I'll tell you what I do have though is I have the VHS because everybody taped everything on VHS back in the day. Like,
I'm gonna do the cardinal sin of podcasting, which is one, get off the mic, do something visual. But anyway, whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, dude, we do this every single week.
These figures that they've done on the movies. The movie.
Wow.
The likenesses. That's huge.
It's like what, like 8-10 inches tall?
About 8 inches. Yeah, the likenesses are unbelievable. So like they've got all 4 of them, obviously, but I've only got Raphael because he's my favorite. But yeah, I love that movie. It's really weird. I only realized that the second movie of that was it Secret of the Ooze, came out a year later. Yeah, no, that was the third one. The second one came out like a year later, and it's just like, man, there was an absolute dip in quality on that second one.
I feel like all of them were. Like the third one, when they went back in time and they were saying, one was like kind of cool, but that one did not have near the rewatch value as the first one.
No, I think that
woke up in a bathtub.
I think that it's really dark, that movie. I rewatched it. I feel like I've rewatched it not that long ago, and it's really good. It's one of the. Yeah,
I need to rewatch that. Well, because you talk about dark. You have like the child labor thing, where wasn't it like one kid discovered all the other kids like packing up all this whatever into cartons?
They're like packing cigarettes and shit, aren't they?
Like, cigarettes version of like fentanyl and cocaine.
Yeah. 1 minute you're stealing stereos, the next minute you're slinging fentanyl for shredder.
Yeah, slinging fentanyl, selling loose cigarettes on the street.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and rewatch that. But I think like by the time the third one, I think like the Henson Company had dropped out, so all the suits started to look a bit ropey, and the budgets get cut and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, my brother-in-law, he's like a massive Turtles guy. He's got like all the OG stuff. He's still got all the toys, and he's got all the the turtle blimp, the turtle car. He's got the turtle van. I think he's got all of that. Yeah, like I think he's got all of it. He had it all. It was at their parents' place for quite a while, but he built his own house not that long ago, so I think it all finally moved out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still have I've been slowly, we talk about taking stuff back from our parents' house, slowly taking away like totes and crates of things. Like got all my Star Wars micro machines back here, which that in itself was quite a bit, and I'm going through all my Legos now. But I have
you got a dedicated
giant,
like room where you're I mean, I know you're recording, it looks like this is like your sanctuary in here.
yeah, it's my panic room. Well, I developed this little. It's a finished little small space in my basement, and I finished it like right before COVID because I was like, "This is going to be my gaming room. I'm going to put my gaming piece in here," which I absolutely did, and thank God bought it like just before the price increase of like everything related to computers and silicone chips. But yeah, I've just been slowly bringing in my Star Wars stuff, hanging up some posters, and got some old like Ralph McQuarrie prints I put up, and I got a beautiful Solo, a Star Wars story that my friend Christopher, Kev, and Ed got me at Celebration.
It's got two Han Solos on it. It's got Harrison Ford on one end and Alden on the other side.
And like Harrison is like a ghost image behind his head. Son.
It's got a balding Alden Ehrenreich on the front. It's just like we had to. Chris had to paint his hair in. Just had to paint his hair in a bit, mate. He was getting a bit thin on top. Just had to put a little bit more on top there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chris draws in black and white, so it doesn't look
that's
gray,
right. You
at
can,
least. So
you can fill it in.
dark.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're in the early stages of renovating our house, and we've got a study where all the desks are, and we record in here, and there's a shelf of sort of all the Star Warsy stuff in here I've taken over, but. If the renovation goes as it's supposed to go, we'll have basically because we both work from home most of the time now. We had to have we need a separate office, and we need like each. We both need our own spaces, and we might even like do like a theater area. So a lot of the Star Wars stuff might go in there.
Yes.
If it all goes ahead, if it's sort of if the money people can make it happen. But
yeah, I feel you. We did the same thing, home equity loan and all that other stuff. And just trying to figure, it's like, what can we do? Where's the budget? Do this. What can I do myself? Oh yeah.
And what can I do? Nothing, basically.
Yeah, talk about delusions of grandeur. In my mind is like, I can do that, no problem. A couple of YouTube videos, don't worry about it.
Is recording a podcast going to make this renovation any cheaper somehow? That's about all I can do. Yeah, we kind of
big goose egg.
Yeah, we did it. And we kind of threw everything in, and then got a number and went, all right, we're going to have to start cutting some stuff out. So that's okay. Yeah. That's okay. All the important stuff is happening. But, well,
you got your wish list of things to do in the future.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's just the stuff that... We can't be renovation talking the Star Wars podcast, but like stuff like the garage, that can wait. We can do a carport in the time being. It doesn't have to be a sealed garage. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. So you
guys don't get snow down there anyways. It's fine.
Nah, we don't. We get no snow. We get no snow. I think you guys were talking on the pod about how the Australians would be shocked by the cold in Britain. Like I'll be all right. I've done a few British winters, and April's not too bad. It won't be. It'll be cool, but it won't be freezing. If it had been in like January, February or something, it would have been
a little brutal.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit brutal.
I will admit I did poke fun at you in our and you and Catherine Neen in our last episode. It was like they're going to be frozen mid-stride on the streets of London in this cold.
Nah, we'll be prepared. That's why I'm hoping that I'll be able to move those beanies. It'll be.
Hey, you got to push them. Got to push product. Got to turn that wheel.
People still talk about snow day at Celebration in Chicago, the Sunday.
Oh my God! Yes, that was awful because it was April. Was it April?
Yeah, that was another level. We weren't prepared for that. Like we could be prepared for April in London, but that was yeah.
The two main guys, right? Ed and I coming in. We were not prepared for this. I'm like, we left the snow. What is happening here? And then we realized that little thing called lake effect, where if you're just next to a giant lake like that one, you just get.
It's just rolling over thing. I remember just going in the morning, and we had to do something really. I had to just go around. I think there was like a convenience store, or whatever you call it, like a 7-Eleven, like 2 streets away from where we were. We needed like washing detergent or washing powder because we wanted to wash some stuff. I remember just walking to there and just like the snow and the thing just going, oh my God, like what is this? This is just brutal. So I'm hoping that won't be the case for London. I don't think so. You won't be getting snow.
If anything,
in
it'll be rain.
It'll be rain. Yeah, it'll be rain.
So that's bring a nice little rain jacket. It'll be all right.
I'm not too worried about the beanies not moving. Then I think they'll be all right. Maybe I can even jack up the price. Like I'm just doing for cost. Maybe I can start. Any other people who I don't know who want one. I'm like, oh well, that's £45. You want to be cold? You would rather have a cold head? Go to the Celebration store and see what their stuff costs.
Listen, all you got to do, Josh, all you got to do is just be like, listen, this is a limited print run. This will never happen again. There's only 13 of these, right? You can have one of your own right now for 95 quid.
That's less than a Cara Dune on the black market.
There you go.
Dude, so good to chat to you. I can't wait to it's going to be. I'm looking at 3 months less, 2 months. I should buy my flights. February,
you haven't bought
March.
your flights yet?
No.
You haven't bought your flights yet? Oh
No,
man,
it's all right. We'll get it sorted.
you'll be all right. You'll be fine.
It'll be fine. But looking forward to hanging out proper.
Yes,
in London.
Absolutely. Find a pub somewhere, sitting around and talking
I think
about
it'll be
everything but Star Wars.
You can Google it. The Spurstow Arms, I think, is the pub that will be between where I am and you are, which is one of my favourite pubs in Hackney.
Oh,
just
sure.
the top of London Fields. So
Excellent.
Anybody else who's listening, it's not near the convention centre, but it's near where we are. But I've got all these dreams of getting up, trying to do the Columbia Road Flower Market on the Sunday before Celebration. Do London Field, do Broadway Market. There's like a million things I've got to do. So
yep,
I'll have plenty of ideas.
You have a whole list and a whole thing ahead of you. And all that's important to know is we are going to have a good time.
Oh yeah. All right. Tell the people about your podcast, mate, before you leave.
Yeah, sure. Hey, and first off, Josh, thank you so much for having me on. It is an absolute pleasure. I am a big fan of your show. Also, your Peppa Pig podcast as well.
It's coming back. We've been on holidays.
Very good.
We've been taking a summer off, as we normally do.
I love it. But yeah, you can check out Scruffy Podcasters on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, Christian Mingle, J-Day, all the dating apps as well. We're out there, Scruffy Looking Podcasters. You can find us also on Spotify, and just there it is, and there we go.
Awesome,
Thank you for having me on, Josh. Really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure, mate. I'll see you soon.
Likewise. Cheers, buddy.
Bye-bye.